One place I could have never predicted that we would see scamming occur is when trying to book your driving test. Unfortunately, however, as many new learners have found out, after being conned out of hundreds or thousands of pounds, scamming is rife. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing to mention is just how difficult it is to try and get a driving test in the UK at the moment. For many of us, we probably haven't tried to book a test in 10 or 20 years, so we're just unaware of the current state of affairs. But upon passing your theory test, if you log on and try and book a practical driving test, you're in for a wild ride. You're probably going to find that there are no test dates anywhere in the UK. If you're very lucky, there might be one 6 months out, many miles from you. Now, as to why that is the case, well, it's twofold. One, things just are busy. There's a lot of people trying to sit tests, and DVLA are flat out trying to combat that. But secondly, and less obvious, is it's a result of the way in which the system works. So when you log on to book a practical driving test, and I can't quite believe this is the case, if you can manage to book a test for anywhere in the UK at any time, doesn't matter if it's 400 miles away and 6 months out, as long as you've got some form of booking, you can get access to the cancellation list. And at that point, you can look at the cancellations and get one closer to home. Going a step further and perpetuating the problem, you can actually download an app which, when you've got a test date, will look for tests that are more suitable, closer to home and nearer. So what these apps are doing, paid apps by the way, are effectively acting like bots. They sit on the web page, they scrape the data from it, and then when a test appears that fits your criteria, within a given date range, within a certain vicinity from your home, it will automatically reserve it and give no one else access to it. And there you go, we go round and round with the same problem. I just find it hard to believe that such a business opportunity to create an app has come from the failings of an archaic system. Unbelievable. Now, I can understand why some of us might think morally it's a bit wrong to use an app like that to try and secure a date, but honestly, what choice have you got? If that's what you're up against and you're manually logging on and trying to find a date, chances are you're not going to have much luck at all, so you're kind of forced into it. But believe me, this is nothing compared to some of the scams that we're going to go on and talk about in just a minute. Now, DVLA have replied by saying they're closely monitoring the amount of requests for tests that are coming in, and they're allocating resources where it's needed. The problem is, as everyone tries to get around the system and just book a random location on a random date, it's going to completely confuse that process. You've probably got some Scottish rural towns with 100 occupants receiving 500 inquiries a day at this point. The other thing to consider is there's a national shortage of driving instructors currently, but they're caught up in this same mess. So if they can't get a test date, they can't qualify and then teach people to drive. Big vicious circle. Anyway, let's get into the real dodgy side of this now. Since time began, where there's been a hot commodity, there's been someone trying to benefit financially out of it. And unfortunately, driving tests have become just that. So we've got the out and out scammers, people who are essentially just booking driving tests as they become available and then reselling them to the general public at massively inflated prices. I've heard of people paying upwards of £500 for a test. Unbelievable, and just magnifies what a broken system it is. Now, perhaps even more shocking is the individuals who are choosing to partake in this scam. The driving instructors. I shouldn't laugh, it's not funny, I just find it so unbelievable that they would try and scam people out of inflated price tests when they're already paying them for tuition on driving. Unbelievable. Anyway, obviously this isn't every driving instructor in the land, it's just certain unscrupulous ones. And honestly, if you're sat there, you've got a test date, or you're thinking about purchasing a test date from your driving instructor, just don't. These guys deserve to be reported to the DVLA, not have their pockets lined. So is it a problem of resource or just a flawed system? I think it's very hard for anyone to answer that, given that there's so many double bookings, or booked with no intent of turning up, or booked and then cancelled tests in the diary. It's just impossible to know. Please do drop your thoughts in the comments section below, particularly if you are currently booking a test and struggling to do so. And also, once you pass that test, make sure you use vehiclescore.co.uk when buying a used car. This certainly works a lot better than the DVLA website, believe me. It'll tell you the good and bad points about any given car. Make sure you get a good one. I'll drop a 15% discount voucher for their paid HPI reports in the description below. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Please do hit that subscribe button and hit the like button.